So, welcome everyone. We've had so far two earlier presentations, and this is the third one on this theme. The last one that we had on 6th June, that was we were trying to focus on specifically on WhatsApp and how WhatsApp is being misused for spreading hate and fake news, and what all we can do, what in different ways we can handle WhatsApp, especially for people who are heavily into family groups and RWA groups and many other kinds of groups where a lot of such messages are spread around. So we discussed that, and a recording of that is available. You can take a look at that. Today I want to talk about fact checking and fact checking not only the facts but also videos and photographs, because that is something that we are constantly grappling with on the internet. And even though there are many kinds of tools available on the internet, many of us, we don't know how to handle fact checking. So I will begin that, and let me start with my screen of my slideshow. So I'll be mostly showing you the slides. Usually we expect that anybody who's serious about this entire project, who wants to volunteer, who wants to do something, they should have some basic computer skills, and the internet tools. So you should know how to copy paste, how to save, how to search, how to take screenshots and organize your data, because that is how you will be able to, because if you want to continuously do this, you will need to really devote time and manage yourself much better. You should know how to download videos from different sites. Even if it seems that the videos are not downloadable, there are many ways to do that. In a way, we are kind of investigative reporters or investigative people who have to investigate and find things which normally ordinary citizens, ordinary netizens can't find, but we have to devote that kind of time. Then we should know how to do image search and reverse image search and so on. Actually, Google search itself is a very specialized thing. Most of us don't know how Google search works, and if you know how to smartly search different keywords and different things, you'll be able to get a lot of useful results which normally ordinary regular netizens are not able to do. So and Google has made available a lot of these tools. There are instructions, guidelines available which you can use to learn how to do Google search better. You should be able to use Google Maps, and you should know a little bit of softwares, image softwares like Photoshop or other image processing software. If you know video editing or video shooting and sound editing, etc., that's an added advantage, because these things are required, these things are quite useful. Then of course, if you know a little bit of HTML, JavaScript, XML, etc., because people are actually hiding a lot of things on the internet, and you should be able to do a basic search and basic manipulating the languages and the codes, that you'll be able to find a lot of things which are hidden. And you should be able to make memes and write tweets, etc., etc. So let's begin by looking at how to do the fact checking. And some of the slides that I'm showing you I had earlier shown right in the beginning, but I'm just going to repeat a few things here. So how do you recognize fake news and story? If you are a journalist, if you are already in the media, if you know how things work, then you should be able to figure out very easily. But even if you are not, then there are many ways. First thing is to look at the headline of the news and look at which news outlet has published it. Look at the date and time. A lot of times people are posting things online. Sometimes they are old news items and people don't realize, and they think that this is true, and they start forwarding it, etc., without realizing that it's an old news. Sometimes people post old news deliberately, to make a point. So you should know that it has been posted to make a point and not to deceive you or anything like that. You should know who's the author of the post, author of the news, what kind of sources are used in that, and what sort of questions and questionable quotes and photos have been used, and whether there is any bias in the reporting, and most importantly, whether that news has been reported by others or not. That is very important. So when you have figured out all these things, when you verified the news, only then you should be able to share it. Without verifying it, avoid sharing any kind of news. Now, how do you judge or rate a newspaper or news portal or a TV channel? We need to look at the past history, the past record of, how authentic they have been in the past, how credible they have been, what has been their editorial policy, and what sort of ideology they follow, whether it's a left wing or right wing or center, neutral, secular, scientific, whatever. So you should be able to figure these things out. What sort of language they are using, whether they are using the language of sensationalism or is it a more neutral kind of language. What has been the reputation of their reporters and editors and anchors, etc. So all these points are important to figure out how credible a news report is. Then what sort of advertisements and commercialization is being used, whether it's a TV channel or a website, because sometimes, if they are coming up with some fake news, you should immediately see what kind of brands or what kind of companies are supporting them or sponsoring them at that time, and we should be able to call out the commercial establishments which are supporting a news portal when they are doing this kind of fake news. Similarly, who owns the company, who does the channel belong to, and all that. So these are very important things in order to judge a newspaper or a TV channel as to how credible it is. Based on that, some people have tried to make a kind of a table on which they put different news brands, to judge how credible they are, how factual they are, whether they are left leaning or the right leaning, and so on and so forth. You can also create your own chart like that by putting different news portals and see where each stands. This can be very subjective, but it can also be very objective. I mean, you can actually decide certain criteria which will help you put them in the right places. Okay, how do you validate a news? Always verify or validate news with more than one portals or channels. See how different channels or papers are reporting one event. And if a news if a news is posted only on a lesser known channel, why? Sometimes it could be a local newspaper or a local TV channel which only has the access to a certain news, and from there it goes to more national and international newspapers. But if it's not a local newspaper, and if it's some lesser known newspaper, why are they only reporting something? So you should be able to figure that out. Are they following certain ethics and protocols of the journalism? These days a lot of people have come into journalism or reporting without really any training or without any experience, so they haven't really gone through those ethics and protocols of the journalism. So, and if you find such kind of reporting, you should call out, you should tell them that you're not following a certain protocols or ethics of journalism. And what is their source of information, whether it's real or fake? What has been the past record of a reporter? Have they been reporting such kind of false news earlier, and so on? So these are all things that you should keep in mind while judging any kind of news item. there are many fact-checking websites, and now I'm going to go into the fact-checking side as to what goes into the fact-checking. Let me give you a couple of examples that recently we saw. Like, for example, one particular news has been reported by two different channels or two different portals in a completely different way. For example, when this protest at Shaheen Bagh was going on some months ago, here are this, from the same day, the same news has been reported by two different portals. One is by NDTV, which says that Shaheen Bagh protesters observed 2 minute silence for Kashmiri Pandits, whereas the Op India newspaper said that Shaheen Bagh पहुंचे कश्मीरी पंडितों से CAA विरोधी प्रदर्शनकारियों ने की हाथापाई. So you can see how the same news has been reported by two different channels in completely different ways, and that you can easily decide that which, I mean, this Op India is famous for its bias and prejudice towards one kind of ideology. They always come up with these kind of things. Similarly, the same location, this a couple of days later, there was another news which was reported by two different newspapers. One, Amar Ujala says that Shaheen Bagh पहुंचे दिग्विजय सिंह, केंद्र पर साधा निशाना, बोले हम विभाजनकारी नीतियों के खिलाफ. So in a way, he is favorable to the protesters. Whereas the same news is reported by Op India, where they say Congress veteran Digvijay Singh snubbed at Shaheen Bagh protest. Protesters do not let him deliver speech from the stage. So the same newspaper, the same news, the same kind of a thing is reported by two different newspapers in different ways. And this is a kind of comparison we need to do. I mean, I'm just doing a two newspapers, but you can take a look at many newspapers and see how the same news is being reported in two completely different ways by these. Then sometimes also, some people come up with statements which can be factually wrong. For instance, this statement by the Home Minister, which says that if Savarkar was not there, then 1857's revolution would not have become a history. Now, he's talking about 1857, but if you look at the facts, Savarkar was born in 1883, many years after 1857. So how can this be true? So there are many statements like that which are made by politicians, and we just accept it like that, and then we carry on like that. These are things we need to figure out. We need to look at the facts and we need to check. We need to go back into the history and see how. So similarly, photographs, many photographs have been manipulated and put. So for instance, when the Shaheen Bagh protest was going on, this person, this Rohit Sardana, came up with a photo which said that there's a hoarding at the back which says fixed rate rupees 500 per day, 7 p.m. to 12 p.m. Shaheen Bagh. And this was spread a lot by saying that, women are paid 500 rupees a day to protest. Then finally, Alt News found out that the actual photo was this CAA Wapas Lo, NRC Wapas Lo, which was doctored with and a different kind of picture was with that. So there are many examples like that. There are, especially this Alt News is very, very diligently busting fake photographs and fake news. You may have seen some examples of that. Then Congress and Rahul Gandhi, they always become, the point of ridicule for this kind of thing. So you can see this photo on the top. It shows a framed picture of Babar or somebody like that, whereas the actual picture had Gandhi's photo on it. So many pictures like that are spread. And this is a typical example that I'm showing you. And this was not even made up by somebody, outside. This was done by government authority. The Press Information Bureau came up with this photo, which is there at the bottom, saying that the Prime Minister is gone in a helicopter looking at the, flood-prone area in Chennai. And actually it turned out that the photo in the circle, in that circular window, was doctored. It was put on top of it, and the original was where you just see kind of a landscape. And finally the Press Information Bureau, they apologized for this photograph, saying that, by mistake somebody in our office did something like that, and it was not really. So imagine when the government authorities themselves are doing something like this, and we just look at them and we just accept them like that. Many such photos you can find. Of course, there are historical photos also which have been used. There is a photo which says that Gandhi had liking for some woman, and he's kind of, kissing or touching, whereas the original photo was that. There are many other historical photos that I've found, which, they look very naive, and people just keep forwarding them, so I recently found this meme, I would call it a meme, where it says that this is the real photo of Tipu Sultan, whereas this is the image photo that Congress kept printing in Indian textbooks. So I looked at this and I said, how is that possible? Sultan, was he there? When photography was invented, what was he doing? So then I found out that Tipu Sultan died in 1799, whereas photography came to India around 1850s. So there is no way that this could be a photo of Tipu Sultan. But then I did a little more research and found that this photograph, the black and white photo, is a photo of somebody called Tipu, who was born 1832, and he was from Africa. He was a Swahili Zanzibari slave trader from East Africa. And just because his name is Tipu, somebody thought of using that and made up this kind of thing.
So
There are
good.
many such photos. Then there's another photo which has been circulating a lot, saying that this is Gandhi with baby Dalai Lama. Now I looked at this and I said, this looks a little dubious. I mean, even if you look at the backdrop of this, you'll see that iron grill and that wall looks not Indian. It is probably somewhere else. That turned out that this photo originally doesn't have that child, and this photo was of Gandhi when he went to England in 1931. So this is definitely England. So then I said, okay, if this is 1931, what was Dalai Lama doing? So this Dalai Lama, Gyatso, whatever his name is, he was born in Tibet much later, much after 1931, probably in the 40s. And he didn't leave Tibet. He didn't leave Tibet till 1950s. He was exiled. He took an exile and came to India when Nehru was already prime minister. So it's not possible that this is Dalai Lama. And so this is the many, and in fact, many Tibetans have been distributing this photo saying that this is Dalai Lama with Gandhi. Then this is another funny photo which was tweeted by somebody. It says that this is Priyanka Gandhi के विवाह के समय मौलाना और संसद सदस्य शफीकुर रहमान विर्क कुछ इस्लामी रिवायत निभाने के लिए क्यों बुलाया गया. So you can see that there is a guy on the right side, a bearded guy with a white cap. He looks like a Maulana, and what is he doing in Priyanka Gandhi's wedding? Then I searched for this and found out that this was not a Maulana at all. This was a Pandit. He was a Kashmiri Pandit, and because Indira and this family is from they are originally Kashmiri Pandits. So when they had this wedding, they invited a Kashmiri Pandit to do the rituals, and so he looks like a Muslim Maulana, but he's actually a Kashmiri Pandit. So there are many such things which are circulating, and then people asking all sorts of funny questions, and some people just believe in such photographs. So just looking out what you are watching, and don't believe in exactly what is being touted or whatever is being commented upon. So there are many websites, many fact-checking websites or fake news busting websites that you can access. I can send you this. It's also there on our website. So the alt news and News Live are very much in India. Factchecker.in is also in India. Then some newspapers like India Today and the Hindu and many others, they have their own fact checking sections where they doing this sort of a thing. Then later some other websites are there. I will give you, I'll show you some more examples, websites where you can go and find out if you have any doubt about a news or about a photograph. For example, there is a website called photoforensics.com. Now, if you have a photograph and you're not sure whether this is a true photo or it has been engineered where it has been, done something with being, so you go to this website and you upload the photo forensics, and what they can do, they can actually tell you some of the information which is hidden, or sometimes if somebody's photo has been tempered with, uh, they look at the temperature, the body temperature, they sense it through some way, and then they figure out that the rest of the photo has this particular temperature, whereas this portion has another temperature, which means that this portion has been added to it. So very similar things you can get through a website like that. Then there are reverse image searches, like this tineye.com. You can do reverse image search. Also on images.google.com, you can do reverse image search. What basically the reverse image does is that when you have a photo, you upload that photo into this website and search for it, and they will tell you where this image has appeared earlier, in which other variations or which other versions it has appeared. And sometimes you will be able to figure out the original, or let's say if somebody is posting it today saying that this is something that I have shot today, but if you go through this reverse search image, you will figure out that this photo is actually 3 years old or 2 years old or 1 month old. So there are various ways by which you can do this kind of investigation of images. There is Google Fact Check Tools. This is basically toolbox.google.com and fact check. So if you put a keyword there, it will tell you what all it has, where all. Uh, um, if a certain news is wrong, if a certain news is factually wrong, then they will give you a list of the fake news busting reports that are available. So there are many websites like that which you can find, and there are verification handbooks. Now, fact checking has become a big thing now. Almost every newspaper, every magazine, every publisher is having fact checking people sitting there and looking at every sentence and see whether this is true or not, because they've figured out that if they have any wrong information, their credibility will be doubted. Then there are other websites like hunch.ly. This is a web capture tool, again for investigators. For example, they keep screenshots of many things which may disappear later. Screenshots is a very important thing. Whenever you find something odd, something which is not sensible, then you should always keep a screenshot, or keep a record of that. That helps later on in verifying what fake news was available. Then there are, for journalism, there are many other tools available. There is emergencyjournalism.net. Again, there are a lot of toolkits they provide, for they look at the accuracy, whatever information you are giving, is it true or not. So now we come to the videos. How can one verify whether there is a particular video is true or not? So especially on websites like youtube.com or vimeo.com and many other video hosting sites, you can first of all look at the metadata of the video. Metadata is basically, apart from the video file, what other textual information that has been put with this video. So what is the upload date, when has it been uploaded, and time, and what are the captions or details that has been put, who has uploaded a particular video, what is their past history, what kind of videos have they been uploading, And if you have any doubt, you can always contact the uploader of the video and ask about the authenticity. If the uploader is not the original video maker, find out who is the maker of the video and try to contact them. Sometimes a lot of people in local areas, in villages and all, they are making some video and sending it across, and then it is uploaded by someone else. So you should always try to trace back where the video originally came from, whether it has been doctored with, whether there is an original version. If it is doctored, and what has been added to it, are there any texts added, are there any sort of ads or audio or music that has been added to it, why has it been added. Also, when somebody is speaking in a video, the sounds that you hear, are they original or are they superimposed from outside? Is the dialogue or the audio of the people talking lip synced? This is very important, whether what I'm talking, can you see that the sound and my lip movement is synced or not? Is it synchronized or not? Sometimes if it is not synchronized, then it means that this video has been tampered with. So you have to look at all these things. Then if it is a CCTV footage, a lot of times CCTV footage is also used and it's made viral. So look at if there is a date and time stamp on it, because most of the CCTV footage has a particular date and time. If it is not there, why is it not there? Sometimes what happens is that, how do you source CCTV footage? What happens is that CCTV footage is usually being watched on a screen, and people don't access it from the camera, but they watch it on the screen. So what they do, they put their mobile phone on and they record it from the screen. So when they are recording it from the screen, they are zooming in to the frame, and they are sometimes avoiding the time stamp or date stamp. So it happens that CCTV footage is there, but it is moving or it is being zoomed in. It means that it has been recorded from the screen, off the screen. So then you should find out who recorded it from the screen and where was the original footage, and so on and so forth. All these things need to be found out. Then does the video show night or daytime? Is the direction, what is the direction of light source? Because, all these things are important. Sometimes if it is a made up footage, if somebody has doctored the footage, or if 2-3 shots are put together, you have to look at the light source. What is the light? Where is the light coming from? Is it, if they claim that this was daytime but it looks like nighttime, there is some other light. So you can always, you have to make guesses, and you have to make assumptions, and break the claim that is being made if you think that it is the claim is wrong. What is the dresses people wearing? For example, somebody posted a video of a mob lynching where a lot of people are hitting a woman, and they said that this is from Jharkhand. But I looked at it very closely, and I said that the people in this don't look like people from Jharkhand. Their dresses are very strange. They're wearing shorts and t-shirts, and people in a village in Jharkhand don't wear shorts and t-shirts of this kind. So it turned out that the video was actually from Burma or some other Cambodia or somewhere. It wasn't really from Jharkhand. So what kind of dresses people are wearing, what kind of dialect or what kind of language they are speaking. Then if you see a street, or if there are shops behind, if there are signboards, what is written on the signboards, all these details are very important. They will help you help you decide whether this is a true video or not. What kind of roads and streets are there. For example, just 3-4 days ago, somebody posted a photograph, a black and white photograph of a riot, saying that this is from the Muradabad riots of 1979 or 80. Somebody is carrying a dead body or something. I looked at the photo and I saw it is a street, but at the back there is a road divider, which is a very strong and a very, very large road divider. And I said that this road divider doesn't look like from a small town like Muradabad. This looks like a big town. Then I found out that actually that photo was from Bombay 1993 riots or something like that. It wasn't from Muradabad. So all these things are important. You know, what kind of background you see, whether it looks like urban location or a rural location, all these then if there are 2 3 people walking or some 2 3 things happening in a photograph, you have to look at the alignment of the people, whether they are going in the same direction or the shadows are in the same direction or not, because if they are put together, there may be some match of the two, and you may figure out that this is a doctored video or a doctored photograph. So many of these things are possible. I'm just giving you very basic this thing. You need to learn more if you are serious about this. Now, our 40 minutes are going to be over very soon. I wanted to show you a couple of videos about this, something called the deep fake. Deep fake is a new technology which basically allows you to use somebody's video and put someone else's face on that, and even in terms of a moving face. So it very easily you can take somebody's body and put somebody else's face and somebody else's voice, all these things put together, and you can create a completely fake video claiming that this video was by this guy so and so. So many such videos have been made, and many famous people have been their videos have been manipulated and so on. So this is very dangerous kind of technology, and a lot of people are against this technology. A lot of facial recognition technology is also being used. Technology is really going in very, very dangerous directions, and we don't know what's going to happen. So, but we should at least be aware of what all different things are available, and in what way do we need to figure out. So just before I end, let me just list out, at least as ordinary citizens, what can we do when we find a situation like that. First thing is to never forward or share any news without verifying if you find it doubtful. Write comments in the comment section giving your authentic reasons why you think that this is fake. Write to the editor or reporter about the bias, and report or post it on social media. If you find the fake news, report to government agencies or media watch groups. You can even file a court litigation against fake or false news. And then you could boycott a channel or a portal that reports bias or fake news repeatedly despite warnings and appeals. But look at some of the websites like altnews.com.in as to how they are busting fake news, and if you can help them in some way. In fact, I help these kind of websites in various ways, including making a monetary kind of donation to them, because they need to be supported. So we should support any such websites, any such authentic news. There are many alternative news portals which are coming up, and they're doing some excellent job, like Logical Indian, The Wire, and many other things, including Alt News. So you should support them. Whichever way you can support them, it's always good to help them, because either we actually become volunteers and activists and try to bust these kind of fake news, or at least support it in some way, bring more people who can help in this regard, and especially the younger lot. The youngsters need to be made aware of this, because they are spending most of the times on the internet, and they're also capable of being misled by a lot of this kind of fake news and fake things. So we need to make more and more people aware. If you are a teacher, then you talk about this amongst your students or youngsters. If you're a parent, you talk about that among your children. So there are many ways you can do.